Kruse. We're getting to hear a lot of fun stories. This guy has lived a lot of experiences. This guy's lived 1,000 different people's life experiences. It's amazing. Tell us, in the early 90s, it was all over the newspaper. You guys had a raid from the FBI. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, it's kind of interesting. The government found out there was a lot of cash money being transferred around the country and a lot of deals. They decided they wanted to be clamped down on them. So every deal over $10,000 in cash that you had, whether you run any kind of a store or anything, you had to turn it in who the buyer, who the guy was that gave you the cash money and his social security number. So we knew that law, and we were selling it, and I thought it meant, truthfully, money taken in by us. So if we sold a car for $1 million and I took in $1 million for the seller, I gave it to the seller in an escrow account. I never really took possession of the money. And then our commission would be $100,000. I'd report that to the government. That was over $10,000. But at most of our deals, our commission was under $10,000. So we didn't report any of them under $10,000. One day, I'm not even at the office. I get a call from my office. I say, Dean, you ought to come up here. The FBI and the IRS has shut down your office. I said, what do you mean shut down the office? He said, they're going through every place in there. They put all the employees in the conference room. I said, what for? And they said, we're not sure. So I get in my car and I'm shaking and I drive in there. I go in and I walk in and there's a guy who meets me with a machine gun at the door. And I said, I'm Dean Kruse. You are? Step right in, sir. Right over here in this office. So I go in and I said, what's going on here? He said, well, we have good, reliable information that you've taken in more than $10,000 on car deals and you haven't turned it in to the IRS. And under this new 8300 rule, you have to turn it in. And you haven't been reporting it, and that's a criminal offense, 5 years in jail. And mister, you're in real trouble. And they're going through everybody's desks. They got a thing, they slip in computers and take everything on every computer in the whole office. They're really, really going at it. And I said, well, can I talk to a lawyer? They said, well, your lawyer can't help you. We're in here and we're staying till we get what we want, and then we'll leave. And if we want to arrest you, we'll arrest you. And so I just stayed there and kind of talked to the other people and stuff. And Mike Butler had a gun in his desk, a revolver that he owned. Thank goodness he had it registered. It was in his drawer. They found that. What do you got guns in here for? Well, to make a long story short, what we found out was the FBI had sent an undercover agent to one of our sales. He tried to register and say, I want to pay all cash. Do you turn me into the IRS? And they said, well, we turn all of our sales into the IRS. So he didn't get a bidder's number. But he come to the office one day and he talked to Mike Butler. And he said, I've got a lot of money. I'm a bookie from Detroit and I make millions. I have a lot of money and I want to buy cars for cash, but I don't want it reported anywhere. Is there any way you'll do that for me? So what Mike did, he made a bad mistake. He said, well, tell me how all this works. And then, so the guy took about an hour telling him how everything would work. And Mike said, well, let me think about that. And then Mike thought about it for a week or so and he called the guy back and said, no, I don't think we're interested. But the guy felt from what Mike had told him, and he had a recorder on, that he had him good enough that he wanted to do the deal, so they raided us. And so then they filed a report, and they don't know if they indicted us, but we had a federal trial. The federal government was going to try to put me in jail. I took full blame for everything. I didn't want them doing anything for my employees, so I said it's all my fault. I run this place. I do it turnkey. Everybody here works for me. They do what I tell them. So I'm the one you want. Forget the rest of these people. And they did that. So they took me to trial in Fort Wayne in federal court. And the trial lasted about a week or 10 days. And they had two hotshot lawyers come in from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. and come in here and prosecute me. And boy, they really raked me over the coals. They tried to say all kinds of things to me, and I stuck to my story that I felt that it was $10,000 paid to us for our money, not $10,000 to somebody else's money that we don't take possession of. We put it in a neutral escrow account and we pay them out of that. We didn't take possession of that. Anything that we took possession of, thank goodness we had a few that were over $10,000 commission that we had paid it on. So I said, that was our policy, that was our position. And I mean, those lawyers yelled at me, and the judge had to threaten to throw them off of the case. They were so loud and yelling, you're going to jail, you're going to prison. And they were scared the crap out of me, but we just kept on plugging on. And they had all the witnesses in, a lot of employees in, they had customers in, and they had this undercover agent come in that the whole case was built on. Mm-hmm. And my lawyer did a pretty good job of picking him apart. So then goes to the jury. We had a jury. And it goes to the jury about, the fourth or fifth day, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And my attorney says it'll be a slam dunk, we'll win this in about an hour. So an hour goes by, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and the jury sends out, can we go home and come back tomorrow? And the judge says, no, you're staying until you get this settled. So then about an hour later, they come out again about 9 o'clock at night or 9:30 and say, can you bring food to us? We're all hungry. The judge said, no, nobody's eating till you get this case solved. Now solve it. And so it was about almost midnight. They come out with a verdict. And the judge, as you stand up, says the verdict is not guilty. And those lawyers, in fact, the lawyers, I offered them $1 million to settle. I said, I'll pay you if you give me 4 years, 250 grand a year for 4 years, and settle this case. I don't think I owe a dime, I'll do it. And they said, are you kidding me? You're going to jail and we're collecting millions from you. So anyways, they got mad. They threw their books, their law books, they threw them. They yelled, they cussed, they swore, and the judge had the police escort them out. And we won. So then they were going to appeal it. They filed no motion to appeal. Mm-hmm. And the president or whoever was in charge out there in Washington said, no, we've wasted about $250,000 with all the rating and attorneys and all this. We're not spending another dime on this case. You had it in court and you lost. It's over. So the government wouldn't let them try to appeal it. So I won. Man, I didn't sleep good those nights till it was over.
Yeah, I bet.
That was scary.